bring it on home. I wanna bring it on home to you. Well, I wanna bring it on home. Wanna bring it on home to you. Well, I got my ticket and I got on board. Doctor, he hollered, all aboard. I got my seat way, way back. When I watched the train going down the track, baby, I gotta bring it on home. I gotta bring it on home to you. Gotta bring it on home. Hey folks, I am Colin James and we are back on the couch. And today we're talking about Little Big Band 2. Really, it was the first time I put out a kind of a repeat record. And Little Big Band 1 was done kind of a passion piece. You know, I love that music and it was a way for me to prove it and show it. And since then we had done Bad Habits and then National Steel. And National Steel was great at kind of getting back to the blues, and now it came time to figure out what was next. And I think we decided to revisit Little Big Band 1, and there was really no scene going on, obviously, to the naked eye, but there was glimmers of a newfound interest in what would end up being called neo swing. For me, it was always this great old R&B and blues from more obscure artists, in particular with Little Big Band 1, with artists like Roscoe Gordon and Tiny Bradshaw and the people we put on that record. Little Big Band 2 was a little harder in gathering the material. These weren't songs that I had held on to close. Well, actually some of them were. Tin Pan Alley, for instance. The best original being done by Ray Agee. But most of them were stuff I had to kind of research, apart from a few that I knew. My love of Jackie Wilson brought me to Let's Shout, Baby Workout. Come out here on the floor, yeah, let's rock some more. Come out here on the floor, baby, let's rock some more, yeah. When we get up there, don't you have no fear. Put your hand on your hips and let your backbone slip and we'll come. Move up. But other stuff like Calvin Bose's Jumping from 6 to 6 were kind of just, we had to basically weed through a lot of early R&B. We would jump from 6 to 6, jump from 6 to 6. Jump from 6 to 6, jump from 6 to 6, jump from 6 to 6, where she got herself in heaven fix. And, you know, I'd kind of done some, I mean, there's a lot of songs out there, but it gets harder to find stuff that you really feel passionate about. But I think we ended up doing pretty well on this one. The track listing, Jumping from 6 to 6, Sophronia B, that one did well. Marianne, Ray Charles's Marianne was a lot of fun. Oh, Marianne, you know you sure look fine. Whoa, 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 baby, yeah. mine. You sure look fine. How much I love you, baby. I'm gonna make you mine. You know, my love by Otis Rush was more bluesy. Now time has passed, and months have gone. Oh yeah, but this love in my heart has lingered on. But when I get worried, I slip away and cry. You know my love. You know my love. You know my love has never died. It was a funny thing with Little Big Band too, because I did the record with someone, Joe Hardy, the producer who did Just Came Back, and it was a hard decision. I think I initially tried to get the Little Big Band one producer, Chris Kimsey, and for one reason or another, he couldn't do it. So I went with Joe, and Joe came up from Dallas, and I remember thinking this probably isn't the best fit for Joe stylistically. But I gotta say, I think he nailed it. Arguably as good a sounding record as the first one, just a completely different set of engineer and producer aesthetics, you know. Little Big Band 1 had all that drenched reverb, very much like a record of the time. Little Big Band 2 had that signature Joe Hardy thing where he uses compression, puts the vocal kind of front and center, dry usually, not a lot of reverb on anything, usually more delays than reverb. I love listening to a Joe Hardy mix stop because all the different delays would slowly stop, and it was always really fascinating. Anyway, I thought, like I say, Joe, I think, did a fantastic job in keeping it with the era, but making it snap with a bit of a modern engineering technique, and I love that. We had a great time making this record. We had George Rains from Texas on drums, as well as Al Webster from up here, but George Rains did the majority of the drumming. George Rains was with Jimmy Vaughn, of course, now, but before that with Boss Skaggs, and very well-known Texas drummer. We had the guys from Roomful of Blues, the main guys that played on Little Big Band 1, Greg Piccolo, Doug James, and some others. And some special, we had a trumpet player from St. Louis named Brian Casserly. And we recorded the bed tracks in Vancouver at Mushroom Studios, and recorded the rest at the Armory as far as my guitar playing was concerned. We finished the record, and I moved temporarily to Nashville, and we were doing a renovation in Vancouver, and we spent a few months down south. And I remember the record was done, and someone told me that Brian Setzer was just going in the studio to do a kind of a swing record. So I started kind of going, boy, I better get this out. And it took us quite a while to finally get Elektra on board to put the American version of this out. And by this time, the swing thing was going, you know, pretty full steam ahead with the Cherry Poppin' Daddies and the Squirrel Nut Zippers and yours truly over here, and Brian Setzer, and it ended up being quite the thing. And we had a great run. You know, we had the Little Big Band 1 to draw from, so we had a lot of material at this point. Ended up playing the Lincoln Center in New York with a big swing festival, and went to Japan and played a little bit in Japan. Anyway, had a great time. Moved quite a lot of copies of this record, and still quite proud of it. And I think of Joe Hardy because he died last year. Joe worked, of course, with Billy Gibbons, and anyone who worked with Joe loved Joe. It just didn't get any better. Funny man, irreverent, funny, fantastic producer. We won a Juno together on this, and really happy that Joe and I did that on Little Big Band 2. We toured it for a fairly long time. Played down in the States a little bit and around Chicago, and then played in New York, and got out there a little bit, but wish we could have done a lot more with it. There was one other noted difference between the American and the Canadian release. The Canadian release had Bring It On Home as the 14th track. The American release had Oh Babe by Louis Prima. And we went back in and cut an extra song, and actually cut it in my home, so the drums and everything on such a big band track were done at my house. And I guess that's the only difference I can think of. But Colin James and Little Big Band 2, 1998. That's what we're talking about today. I bought this guitar for the session, this Gretsch Sparkle Jet. All right, so this has been Colin James back on the couch, and Maggie over here. Maggie, you doing okay? Are you all right? Are you all right? I'd say yes. Anyway, it's been Little Big Band 2, 1998. Next, what do we got? We got Fuse. Takes a whole nother, bypasses everything, goes for the 70s funk record. You know, there's no telling. I'm Colin James. See you next time on the couch.